Hey guys, it's two guys and
Hockey Talk. I'm Evan.
I'm Pavel, and we are happy that you're tuning in again on one of our shows. So thank you for joining us. Like, comment, and subscribe. We love the interaction we're getting on Facebook. We love it. So your thoughts, opinions, love of hockey. Evan, are you excited about hockey as much as we are?
Oh,
I am.
I am getting more excited by the day. If I go through my Twitter feed right now, because Twitter is a great place for hockey. So if, by the way, you don't follow me, there's a little push for me at RevanEv on Twitter, or you can follow Pavel at
Color Avenue on Instagram because I do not have Twitter.
And he has more than cats now.
I do. Now, Evan, I got to ask you a question, and this is a serious question. Are you sure you're not somewhere warm, like in Miami or anything? Because I see a lot of green and trees and everything in your backyard there. Is that just a nice effect you found? Because it's got to be cold when hockey's played, right?
Exactly. Well, hey, before I answer that, I could be in Florida right now, 15,300 cases. We just before we came on the air here today.
Wow.
That's, oh my goodness. So great that, so if you don't know, obviously, if you haven't been following us, you're going to find out quick. We are in the hub city of hockey, Edmonton. And so this is my backyard. I wanted to get out of the studios downstairs, the palatial studios of my basement.
It's very nice.
My mom kicked me out of my basement and said, son, get outside.
Oh, you as well? Man, my mom kicks me out of my basement too.
Oh, sorry. That was my wife. She was just talking like my mom.
My wife hasn't kicked me out of the basement yet. Yeah, welcome back. We got some news. We wanted to share our potential U.S. roster for the 2022 Olympics. We have some updates on things happening with scouting in Minnesota and just some other stuff. So let's begin, Evan. As you know, there is hockey going to be played on August 1st. The puck drops. And as we know, both Edmonton and Toronto being selected as hub cities, we've got some play-in rounds happening. So as it stands right now, from my understanding, we've got on August 1st in the East, New York Rangers playing versus the Carolina Hurricanes. So that's one of the play-in rounds.
I'm really excited about that one. I normally do not follow a lot in the East when playoffs come, just because I'm so much a Western guy. But that one's going to be intriguing based on some of the talent that is on that New York team, and they're rested. And the way Carolina, came on last year, and this year wasn't maybe as good for them. But yeah, I think that's going to be maybe a really compelling series.
Not to pour salt on the wound, but Carolina did beat Toronto with a 41-year-old backup goalie. So that was one of the craziest things I think that happened this year in the NHL. Apart from everything else that's been going on, good or bad, I think losing to a Zamboni driver who works for that organization was probably the highlight for me, right? And I love Toronto. I really do. I love their players. They have a great team, up and coming, very fast, very speedy, good scoring. Matthews, one of the best 5-on-5 goal scorers. But yeah, that was an entertaining game. And I gotta get a quick hot take, Evan.
Yeah.
Who are you as a coach starting for New York Rangers? Is it the King, or is it one of the Grigoriev, or one of the other Shesterkin? Is that Shesterkin?
This is getting crazy. We're going to have to get Google out here, our YouTube sound effects to figure out names and how to say them. Grigorgov. I think that's how you say his name. I actually think he's going to that's who I'm going for. Who do you think?
Yeah, I think they're going to give Lundqvist a try.
Really?
Honestly, they're going to give, the King a go at it.
Because they're still rebuilding, they can give it a shot?
I think so. And after what you mentioned last time in our episode, which we'd love for you guys to check out, you were talking about some rumors about the King being traded. Henrik was playing somewhere else. I could see this being a final run, and who knows how far they can go, right? Anything is possible. The Washington Capitals started with Grubauer in the year that they won the Cup, and then they ended up trading back to Holtby because Grubauer struggled. True. And then they traded Grubauer to Colorado, which has been a good effect. But
that's a really good call. So if you got, like you said, Pavel had mentioned our last episode, is I think a Thursday edition, right? We had talked about Henrik Lundqvist, them possibly buying him out. and no longer staying with the Rangers, but when he's the franchise. But that would be a good call. What a better way to make that decision than give Lundqvist the reign and see, because if he can't do it, people aren't going to have the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does it, well, the Rangers are moving forward, and you got young goalies still for the future.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see how it goes. I think you got something
there.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a huge New York Rangers fan, so shout out to Scott because he loves them a lot. Yeah. But yeah, and so the other games that we got.
Who would Scott pick? Did he give you any idea, his thought?
I'd have to text him and ask him, see what his thoughts are.
Scott, if you're on here right now, then make sure that you put a post in. If you're on afterwards, let us know. I'm curious what you think, Scott.
Scott just texted me back. I never hear from you. There's a shout out.
Yeah.
The other games we got going on is Florida Panthers and New York Islanders, which I'm leaning towards, and I think we talked about this in our early predictions, is New York Islanders.
Yeah.
Like, it's, unless Bobrovsky stands on his head, Islanders are gonna, move forward. And then we've got
didn't they get Pajot at the end of the trade?
They did, yeah.
Yeah. I think they're ready. Yeah.
And they got Barzal, who again underrated, but could make a difference.
We had a hard time putting on Team Canada on Thursday.
We did. It was tough. It was a big miss. Wait till we get through our USA list. And then we've got the Montreal Canadiens and the Pittsburgh Penguins, which should be an exciting, phenomenal match.
I'm sorry. It's not even a contest. I know you Montreal fans. I like Montreal too, but oh man, like I feel bad. Rested Malkin, rested Crosby. Jake is back. I mean, yeah. Oh, and Chris Letang, time to heal up. Yeah. I mean, hey, I hope Montreal gives them a run for their money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to see the team win again this year, but
100%.
Okay, sorry.
Well, and we'll see, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what Pittsburgh brings to the table, because this could be the last few years that Pittsburgh has an opportunity and a window to win, right? I mean, Malkin and Crosby are getting to their mid-30s, and, they're not as skillful and youthful as they were before. And, with all the injuries and concussions and everything that's gone on, it's tough. And Jim Rutherford, he's a guy who will go all in. He will make all the crazy trades. Last year going for Derek Brassard, and that didn't work out. And he will trade, right? So we'll see how that goes. And then on the west side, we've got our very own Edmonton Oilers versus Chicago Blackhawks, and that'll be an interesting go. And then the Winnipeg Jets and Calgary Flames. So another two Canadian teams headed off. Now, with that,
are the Jets going to blow up?
No, they're going to blow Calgary up, that's what I think is going to happen. Sorry, Calgary fans.
Calgary's bringing the heat, man. Calgary's bringing the heat. Pavel and I don't agree on this one.
All right, Evan, I'll give you a quick second hot take. Who are you putting in net, Riddick or Talbot?
Riddick.
Okay.
Riddick. Riddick has more well, man, Talbot had a good series. I was going to say Riddick's got more playoff, but really he doesn't. Oh, yeah, no, I got to run with Riddick. He's the goalie of the future for them, so they need to see what they got right now.
Well, I mean, he could be not if they fail. If he plays the playing rounds and they lose, I mean,
but maybe that's a good reason, right?
Yeah.
This is interesting because this hub thing and this season doing something different, it's almost a testing ground maybe for some teams with things like the goalie. So that's a good point. Do they have enough in Riddick? Riddick's going to have to prove himself that he can do what Smith did even in the playoffs against Colorado. Well, they might have lost to Colorado. I mean, it was because of Smith they were even in it.
Yep, 100%. And so, given that Smith is playing for us, Evan, who do you start? Do you think Tippett goes with Smith or goes with Koskinen? Or do we see something very unnatural where instead of running a goalie through the entire 16-round games or even a little bit more, and you switch the tandem, so no game you'll know which goalie you have, in the sense that, one game it could be Talbot or Koskinen, the other one could be Smith. So
this is my thought, I think, for Edmonton. I think they're going to run with the goalie, depending on the team they're playing. So Chicago, their defense is not as deep, and their top two lines have quite a bit of speed. So I think they want to have Smith in there to be able to get that puck down quicker to their forwards. But if they're playing a puck possession team and not as much speed, I think they're going to run with Koskinen, unless one goalie's hot, of course.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So I think the Blackhawks, I think Smith's going to get the – I actually think Koskinen should be playing, but I think Smith will get the nudge based on being experienced. And they need to see – here's another one. They need to see if they want to re-sign him for another year as a free agent. So.
Yeah, see what that looks like, right?
Who you putting in, Mr. Armchair?
Well, I don't have to make that difficult decision. You know, I'm going to say Smith just because of his run last year, but I don't know if I would put him in for the whole series. I'd see how it goes game by game.
Yeah.
Just because Smith is, 36, 37? Like, he's getting up there in age, and he can't always differ.
Put it right down there. Tell us how old he is.
Tell us the age. And so it'll be tough to see if he can keep up with the routine. You know, some of the older goalies talk about, like Robert Luongo before he retired, talked about the conditioning he had to go through for every Florida Panther game and how he couldn't do every single game because it was exhausting and it took a toll on his body. And again, you got to remember with goalies, it's different equipment, different movements. Yeah. Evan, you yourself are a pro goalie yourself, so you know the experience and you know, all the maneuvers.
Okay, I gotta tell you guys, I was only a pro goalie for one game. I called in sick, but I couldn't call in sick to play goal, so I kind of was paid to play goal for one shift.
Well, there you go.
So I guess I would be pro. I was kind of paid, right? Otherwise, it was rec league. Yeah. No, you're right. It's hard on the body when you got an older goaltender. Yeah, and especially with having so many back to back, definitely I could see some more teams putting two guys in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
100%. And so with this, you know, teams are slowly starting to submit their rosters of what it's going to look like. And as we remember, you know, there's X amount of players and defensemen and then unlimited goalies because as referring to our earlier comment in our little poke at Toronto, you know, you never know when a goalie goes down, right? And
exactly.
You know, with Carolina having two goalies down with Mrazek and with what was his other name that went down?
Is it Reimer?
He played in Reimer, yeah. Right? Like, you know, you never know what can happen, right? So you want to be able to bring up some of those extra goalies just in case, for whatever reason, they're ready to go, right? Yeah. Especially if one goes down and, you know, the other one starts getting ready, right? Maybe you'll have three goalies on the bench. We'll see how that goes. And so as you, I think you were indicating that training camp starts tomorrow, July 13th. Is that correct?
That's correct. Tomorrow, man, camps. And I believe the deadline, so people are hearing about people who are opting out. So the deadline, though, is training camp, which I believe is tomorrow. If I'm wrong, someone can correct me. But, we've had – I think you have a list of who's opted out so far.
I do. And just to comment before that, I think teams are expected to arrive at their hub cities by July 26th, so 13 days after that. So a little over 2 weeks after tomorrow to whether Toronto or Edmonton to get settled in. And I know there was a bit of a list released about who's staying at what hotel and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would release that. It doesn't really make any sense. I think the fans shouldn't – like. There's a lot of diehard fans. I don't really care about that. I think the players deserve a little bit of privacy. Yeah. Let them have that at least. Like, who cares where they're at?
Interesting enough, I think it was released because part of the CBA was who's going to be in and who's going to get the more plush hotel, and it went based on points per average. Is what it looks like when I did a follow-up. I sent a tweet out to actually a couple different guys that were on Twitter, and it looked in that stream of questions. That's what it was. So a benefit.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Calgary's feeling like that Edmonton did it, but just remember, if this was an NHL, just because it's in Edmonton, has nothing to do with the Oilers organization or the city.
No.
Anybody who's in place. So please do not go oil hating. Base it on the team. This is totally an NHLPA decision.
Yeah, 100%. And so teams have started getting calls, specifically GMs, general managers, of some players that have wanted to opt out due to health concerns, not necessarily for themselves, but their families. Yeah. I've read up on a couple of them. And so the majority of them that we know of right now, and we should respect and value their decision, is Travis Hamonic, the defenseman for Calgary Flames. We've got Mike Green, our own very defenseman who we traded for just at the trade deadline. We've got Sven Berchi out of Vancouver Canucks. Yeah. We've got Carl Alsner, who was out of Montreal Canadiens. Now, I think Carl Alsner was playing in and out from being put into games or being, being benched, like just because they have a lot of young talent that they're trying to bring up and play.
He's coming back from an injury, too.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
and he was dealing with that, and he
okay.
was also being shopped around this past year, just kind of like being floated out there, seeing if
Big
anyone's
contract,
interested in it, because big contract,
big
right?
defense, yeah.
Roman Polak from Dallas Stars, another defenseman, who also signed a deal in the KHL, and
Yeah,
so he's going to be playing next year. So I was
yeah,
interested.
I think that maybe wasn't quite the family purpose the same way.
Yeah,
Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I mean, that one sounds like he needs to secure his job for next year more so than he needs to be a depth player.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one that I know of is Steven Kampfer, the defenseman for Boston Bruins. So he's another one. And again, a lot of them is either a wife or a child or a family member. So we respect that. Don't hate on these players. They're
Absolutely.
doing what's safety and health. There shouldn't be repercussions. Now,
Yeah.
one thing that I was reaching out to some people about, and I was curious about, and I wanted your thoughts, Evan. And I got a couple of responses. But so let's say these players, they opt out, but they're still on this team. And let's say one of these teams goes to the final and wins the cup. Do they get their name put on the Stanley Cup? So, for
Yeah.
example, Travis Hamonic. Now, some of the responses I got is like, well, they need to play at least one game. True. But what if you don't play any games because you're benched, but you're still on the organization list team, right? Does that mean that, So what do you think, Evan?
Answer's no. You're not
Okay.
on the roster. You cannot have your name on the cup. I believe that's a legality with the contracts with the NHLPA and NHL. So
Okay.
I'm not based on my thoughts. I actually don't think you should. I mean, I think it's great that they're staying home, protecting their families, but I think it wouldn't be fair to everyone else that that you're not even on the roster actively. I think if they had got sick during it or even during training camp, that would
Yeah.
be an automatic to me. So I don't think they're going to be too upset about it. They made a health choice. They wanted to be safe with their family. So, and I was going to say, if you're on Twitter or on Instagram and you see people ripping people for being out or talking, I saw about Mike Green saying, well, it's going to affect his contract next year. And, guys, like, whether it does or doesn't, I'm going to ask you as a hockey guy, this is hockey. Like, don't get mean because this is also life. And I would not rule out, here's a thought for Oiler fans. I would not rule out that they will not re-sign him. He
Oh,
has
yeah.
history with, because a lot of people think he can't prove what he can do because he only played 2 games. We gave up something for him. Exactly. And he's going to honor that. If COVID, they feel they got a hold on this and fans come back, I
Yeah.
think that they still will. And I'll tell you why. Because there is an expansion draft coming up.
Yes.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And honestly, are we not open to the idea of letting people have another chance, a second chance? Because sometimes you play in a city like our illustrious Zach Cassian, and he had some troubles.
Yeah.
And he was given a second chance to play, and he has thrived, and people now love him. However, you take us back, what was it, 3-4 years ago, when he did that dirty hit, when he was even on Vancouver, on Sam Gagner,
Yeah.
and how people were ripping into him. So, fans tend to be back and forth. And I can understand maybe like if somebody says something negative about the organization,
Yeah.
about not being a good fit, whatever that may be, I understand. But when it comes to people taking personal issues and concerns into their lives, I respect that. And I don't need to know the reasons.
Yeah, and I don't even call those guys fans when they get all mean about stuff. They're just mean haters. Those
Yeah.
are the guys that in riots, when there's a protest, those are the ones destroying stuff. Those are the ones in Vancouver. Those were not the fans that did that or in
No.
Montreal. Just because they're at a hockey game doesn't make them a fan, right? So,
Yeah,
hey, guys,
100%.
quickly, because I know Pavel's got a couple things around the NHL he just wants to quickly hit, and we want to get into the Olympic USA team. We don't want to go too long. I just want to mention broadcast. So there was some reports that were put out. They were asking how the broadcast is going to work. So this is kind of interesting. They're saying the NBC is going to produce the world feed from Toronto is what's going to happen. Sportsnet's going to do the world feed from Edmonton, which makes sense because the conference finals and the Stanley Cup are going to be here. And then NBC is going to take their feed. is what's going to end up happening for the latter parts. And so what's going to happen, the other thing is they asked about announcers. Are they going to be actually on site? Are they going to be in trucks and stuff? And so they're saying the national rights holders, will be permitted on site, but only certain people for certain games that are specifically designated. But if you're not a national rights holder doing stuff, you will not be on site as far as announcing. The other one, coach interviews and stuff, what's going to happen pre-game, in-game, post-game, virtual. And so that's what they're running it. The other thing, what can you expect to hear? This is a big one on the broadcast, because are they pumping in live music? Are they pumping in live cheers? That has not been decided. There's still a little bit of stuff that they're working on. And then the last one was, will they be taping and showing exhibition games? Because they're supposed to have a couple, I'm not sure the number. And the answer is yes. They're going to be broadcasting a couple exhibition games for everyone. So anyway, I'll give that to you before Pavel takes us around the NHL here a little quickly.
For sure. Which are the exhibition games? Are you talking about the round robin?
No. The exhibition game, there's supposed to be 1 or 2 games that they're supposed to be able to play before August 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's going to be within division is probably what it'll be. Like maybe an Edmonton Calgary exhibition game.
Okay. So, the other thing that I wanted to share that it was announced also is that the points earned in the play-in round go towards the points in the playoffs. Just FYI. So, for stats, for the playoff stats. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody can go on a tear and potentially break Wayne Gretzky's record, because you have a couple extra games that you can potentially play and win, right? So
that's why there needs to be an asterisk on this cup. I know that people like Gregor and stuff have said no, but you got more games. It's different time. So we got 7 minutes to get through the rest of our
sorry. So
no.
Anyways,
guys.
Just a quick
thought.
Hockey! So much hockey stuff. So there's been some reports coming out, and they're gaining a lot of momentum and traction. Is Brock Besser out of Vancouver Canucks, the right-wing 23-year-old who just signed a bridge deal this past season, is potentially being shopped around by the Vancouver Canucks. Now, the reason being is because the salary cap is staying flattened for the next few years until the NHL can earn $4.6 billion back and start earning revenue again, right? Which, whenever that will be. And that's why they signed the CBA agreement for 6 years, so that, we don't have to worry about these labor talks for a while. So that's good. Now, you gotta wonder with Vancouver, and Vancouver, the fans, please comment and leave your thoughts below. Would you be okay with trading someone like Brock Besser to make room? Because, of course, Elias Pettersson is up next year from his entry-level contract and needs a new contract, and he's going to get paid a lot. I can say minimum $10 million. You can ask for that. Not saying he's going to get it. After that, you've got Quinn Hughes, who has been excellent for this team and excelled in his development and playing with
contract because of the NCAA, I think, right before he hit.
Correct.
He's
been playing with Tyler Myers.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, because he's an RFA after 2 years because of coming out of the NCAA.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see what they'll do with what Jim Benning will do, because he just got his contract extended with Vancouver. Especially since they have 2 contracts that I'm sure Vancouver fans would love to get rid of, as any team has, right? And we had it for a while with Lucic, you have the Brandon Sutter contract, which is big, and you have the Louis Eriksson contract, which it's not the best. So, what do? Do you trade Brock Besser, or can you do something with that where maybe you get, Ottawa or Red Wings or someone to eat up some salary and, give up a pick in order to be able to keep Brock Besser? And who knows what will happen in a year from now when his contract is up again and how he's performing. Because as you know, Evan, he's struggled with some injuries, so he's not been able to play a full season yet. But when he plays, he is dynamic. Yeah. He is an excellent winger. So it'll be interesting to see.
I thought 2 rumors. I don't think they're true, but just maybe you Canuck fans are all over this. If they can trade him and bring something in, could they be in the sweepstakes for a 2-year contract at a better price, maybe around $7 million for Taylor Hall until the cap goes up?
Ooh.
Okay.
Interesting. Anyway. No, it'd be interesting. And so I heard that you picked up some news about a possible scout going to Minnesota. You want to share some thoughts on that?
From Vancouver, correct?
From Vancouver, I think he came.
Judd. I believe – now, I wasn't as familiar with Judd Brackett. I think you had said – he had come out of the Vancouver franchise. So I didn't get a chance to follow this up. So what's happening is the Hockey News is actually the ones that reported. They look, so the Hockey News considers Judd Brackett actually a coveted draft ace, and he is now moving on to work with the Minnesota Wild.
So Bill Guerin's big signing. That's a good thing.
Good for Guerin. Guerin's really good. I think while he's going to be learning on the trade front, I think he's going to surround himself with good skill and talent. He's always been good at finding and bringing teams together. He's a team builder. So that's exciting news.
Well, I mean, if you look at what Vancouver was able to bring in, and I'm not saying it was all Judd, but, when they bring in Brock Besser, they bring in Bo Horvat, they bring in Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes. Like, these are a lot of young, good, talented guys that they brought over. And they felt confident that could, this is a good future for, for them. So it'll be interesting to see what takes place. Definitely go to Cap Friendly, check it out, see what you like, see what Vancouver Canucks can do. Like, comment, and share what your thoughts of Vancouver is going to do. Now, Evan, as you know, both Quinn Hughes and Brock Besser are American. And what better way to put those two potentially, not 100%, on the U.S. roster than right now? So I wanted to get into, what do you and I think our USA 2022 Olympic team roster is going to look like for Team USA? I'm repeating myself.
Okay. I know we went back and forth line by line. It was a little more tough. So why don't we do it this way? We each go through the forwards. I'll do mine, you do yours, and then we'll do attention back and forth, because I know you might have third, second. So we're going to run a few minutes overtime, guys, just because there's so much happening, and we're just so excited about hockey. Okay, USA. I had a hard time putting together the 2022 team, but I want to mention, again, this is 2 years out. So I'm thinking in that manner. Okay, here we go. I did not realize the skill and talent. I know it's there, but I didn't always pay attention. And by the way, I'm still following up on this. Sean Couturier is looking that he has dual citizenship, by the way.
Oh.
I know he's played for Team Canada, so I'm going to follow that a little bit more. He's registering as a USA player. Okay, here we go. My opening line, of course, I have to run with Austin Matthews, with Patrick Kane on his right side.
Yeah.
And because I believe he's even getting better every year, I'm going to run with Matthew Tkachuk. So Tkachuk with Austin Matthews and Patrick Kane.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Second line. Now, Jack Eichel, Matthews and Eichel, they're top two. We think we got McDavid and Crosby or whoever. This equals Jack Eichel with Brock Besser from Vancouver, certainly. And on the left side, Johnny Gaudreau.
Okay.
Man, again, we got speed, we got size, we got grit. Third line, I'm taking Dylan Larkin, Blake Wheeler, and Kyle Connor. Both are from Winnipeg. Yeah. So Larkin with Kyle Connor and Blake Wheeler. And the fourth line was the hardest. I went back and forth with a whole bunch, but I'm going to run with a little bit of everything. So I'm taking at center Van Riemsdyk. And I'm going to take, even though he's nearing the end of his career, I think they need some experience and a goal scorer. They're going to take Phil Kessel on the right side, and they're going to bring in Alex DeBrincat of Chicago on the left side.
Oh, okay.
All right. I want to hear what you got, man.
Okay. Well, almost similar. Down the middle, we agree 100%. I think, you could say Jack Eichel, Austin Matthews, interchangeable, 1-2 punch. I like it. I think the only other players that I may include as wingers that you omitted that I would be more interested is Max Pacioretty.
Okay, yeah.
From Vegas. He's got something. Now, he could be a second-line winger, not necessarily the first one, but, and the only other one that I would maybe also add is Jake Gensel, just because of his success.
Getzel, and the other one I was thinking about is Kreider.
I also think about in the center, if you need to interchange, and they've had good success, is Kevin Hayes and JT Miller.
Oh, man. Yeah. If he had a couple more, it wasn't 2 years away, I thought about TJ Oshie, you know. Okay.
The other one, if you're talking about a little bit of history and veteranship, because I know you kind of brought that up, I would say TJ Oshie, because he has some success. Joe Pavelski and Zach Parise would be mine.
Yeah, wow.
Could be one of those like 13th player, but they add that veteranship. So that's kind of where I'm at. But otherwise, I agree with you. Everything kind of what you've shared.
Interesting. Okay, why don't you give us your defense? You take the defense.
Okay, defense. Okay, so it took a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. So on my first line, you got Torrey Krug and John Carlson of the Washington Capitals.
Krug and Carlson. Okay.
Yeah. Second one, we've got Keith Yandel and Seth Jones.
Oh, you took Yandel. Okay.
Yeah. Yandel's very underrated. And then you've got Zach Werenski and Quinn Hughes from Vancouver Canucks.
Wow.
And I would say the seventh defenseman would be Tony DeAngelo from New York Rangers. He's had a good year this year.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one to throw in there.
Now the two that I would say that, or so many players that I would also consider is Charles McAvoy from Boston, right? Because he's a solid one, and Jacob Slavin, who showed us last year what an incredible defenseman he is, right? As well as a young and upcoming defenseman, Adam Fox from New York Rangers. That would be
Calgary fans are at okay.
Yeah.
What
about you?
Wow. So we're about half on here. Okay. So I went with my first line with Zach Werenski and Seth Jones.
Okay.
Let's get them to continue to work together. Being previously being in Columbus there. The second line, I wanted that veteran out there. So I brought Suter back.
Okay. Yeah.
Sutter, not Suter. Suter, yeah, man, I'm getting my words all mixed up with Carlson. So I want the experience in there, but John Carlson definitely. So I know we got Jones and Carlson in there. My last line, I did go with Hughes because I felt like he's on that curve as long as he doesn't have a bad year. And Jacob Trouba. Yes. Yeah. And I felt like Trouba need to get that spot, but definitely McAvoy and Slavin, they were interchangeable with the Hughes and Ryan Sutter. Suter, sorry. So that was kind of my thing. Now in goal, this was a tough one. I think most people are going to have Hellebuck.
Yes.
But I thought I was going to take Thatcher Demko.
Oh, okay.
But to give, I think he'll be ready by that time.
I would give a leg up to John Gibson because he has kept Anaheim up and above. He is probably one of the most underrated goalies out there.
I had him, but last year his game just fell apart. I know.
But it's 1 year.
Yeah.
It's 1 year. Yeah. The other one that I would say is a third potentially is Ben Bishop.
Yeah.
He can stand on his head.
Oh, yeah. Bishop. I missed that one.
But this would probably be Bishop's last appearance in my mind.
Yeah.
Right. So, however, I would give some leeway if they were interested, depending on how he develops. Spencer Knight.
Yeah.
As a third potentially. I'm not saying it would be 100%, but
well, guys, we've run a little extra overtime. We're having a hard time keeping our time within here to get all this stuff out to you, but hopefully enjoying it. We're going to have to call it a show. Thanks so much, Pavel.
Thank you, Evan. Thanks for all the likes, subscribes, and comments. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're two guys and
Hockey Talk. I'm Evan.
I'm Pavel.
And we're talking hockey. So I'd like to steal from Ed Whalen of the old Stampede Wrestling and say, and in the meantime, and in between time, that's it for another edition of Two Guys and Hockey Talk. You guys take care.
Good night, everybody.